Okay,
Wow.
great.
Yeah, I just had to say it with a cadence.
Oh.
Okay, I'm John.
I'm Sierra.
And this is And They Were Readers. Yeah. What?
So, why can't I speak?
Yeah.
I lost all the words that I could possibly use. Let me think. Breathe.
Yep. Yeah. One more.
Okay, you ready? Okay, welcome to our channel. We've got tea.
Oh,
so
we do
we're
have
very
tea.
excited about that. We can't drink tea at the same time. It's so awkward. So I actually watched Nikel's Nook. That makes more sense.
Yep.
Recently. And she did the newbie booktuber tag, and I was just really inspired by her video. And then I saw that some other people had done the newbie booktuber tag. So with this booktube tag, there are actually questions, and I read them before, but I haven't given too much thought to them. And then I sent them to John, but I don't think he's looked at them. It's been a busy day. So we're gonna do this like interview style a little bit.
Yeah.
But I'll answer the questions too. So
Yeah.
we're doing this together. So we'll answer why we created this channel, all the good stuff from the questions.
Yeah.
All right, so the first question is, why did you start this channel?
That's a great question. It's been a long time coming, honestly. We have talked about it off and on for about a year and a half. And we're always like, we just started a YouTube channel. That's a dumb idea. Why would you ever do that? Here we are. So both of us kind of fell out of love with reading at some point in our lives.
Yeah.
To be fair, I never started a love with reading.
Oh, I was 12 when I fell out of love.
I was born out of love. Huh?
The double meaning.
And then you go straight into academia where it's like, read this book, read this book, read this book. And you're like, I don't wanna. Like, I wanna play video games and have fun with my friends. And it's like, no, here's Wuthering Heights. And they're like, Anyway, so we bounced back from that. Kind of around like pandemic times, early 2020. Things were like starting to slow down as we got into the pandemic. And I was like, I have all this free time now. And I don't want to just play games and hang out with my friends anymore. I am an adult. So I was like, okay, let me pick up a book. So one of my friends recommended this book to me, and it was Celeste Ng's Little Fires Everywhere. And I was like, wait, books can do this? Books can make me feel this way? So we realized that just over the course of our lives hanging out together, we have a lot of dialogue about the books that we're reading, the impact they have on us, like our reviews, our thoughts. And we've had people tell us like, why don't you guys just like start talking about it to people?
Yeah,
they're like, I love your feedback. So, and we're like, oh, and that's what we watch BookTube for.
Yeah, and I think that's what's cool about BookTube is you don't have to be an expert, right?
Yeah.
Like, I don't have an English lit degree, but I love to read, and I think we all bring our own perspective to the book and to the reading, and so we don't have to agree. Like, I don't really care if you don't love the book that I loved, and nor should you care if you hated the book that I loved, right?
Yeah.
Because we all have our own opinions, and it's a beautiful thing to have our own opinions and different interactions with books.
Absolutely.
And I love it. I love that dialogue.
In no way, shape, or form are we claiming to be the final say on any book.
Never. That's why we started this channel. It's really crazy because I also started reading around the same time he did, and so we just didn't realize that we were starting to love books at the same time, and then all of a sudden we started talking with one another, and like it just never stopped.
It was like we woke up one day and I was like, "You're reading?" And she was like, "Yeah, you're reading?" And I was like, "Yeah." Okay, cool.
So the second question on the tag was, what unique things can you, I guess, can we, bring to BookTube?
Yeah. So I think, first of all, most BookTube that I see is one person.
True.
It's one person talking to the camera, which is great.
Yeah.
Like, however, we're like, I don't think I would enjoy doing this as much if I was doing it by myself.
Yeah, same.
And we bounce out ideas off of each other very well. So we're like, let's just do it together. It makes more sense. We can motivate each other to do it. Like, it helps the creative process, all the good things.
And we've always done things creatively together. Like, I used to play piano and we would write music, and like, we've just been friends for a long time and like love creating. And so when we were talking about BookTube, we're like, what if we just did it together? And so I think like we bring our own perspectives and our own stories, but because we've known each other for a long time, some of those stories are actually pretty similar. And so when we come to a book, there are some similarities, but also really cool differences. And so I think sharing that with other people could be really cool.
I think appreciate, and it'll like help understand some nuance, the fact that we have a male and female perspective.
Oh, cool, yeah.
And two people of color. We are melanated.
Yeah, and we're different kinds of melanated, but our backgrounds are very similar.
Yeah. So different seasoning here and there.
Yeah, but we're both like Jamaican.
Yeah.
But different seasonings. Like I'm like curry chicken.
Yeah, and I'm like a little more jerk chicken.
Right.
Yeah.
If you get it, you get it.
Yeah, honestly.
All right, question 3. Ooh, okay. What are you most excited about?
Ooh.
Yeah.
Okay. Ooh, okay, wait, I have to think about that.
Wait, okay, I got it. You think.
Yeah.
Okay. I'm really excited about creating together.
Oh.
Like, the reality is, with YouTube, like, the algorithm is very different than TikTok. And so, who knows if literally anybody's watching this?
Facts.
Like, I literally don't know.
Yeah.
But
I'll watch it.
Okay. But the reality is, like, we spent a couple hours setting the mics up and figuring out the lights and troubleshooting and laughing. And I think just, like, spending time with your friends doing a project you care about is really beautiful. And so we just love talking about books. So I'm excited about, like, finding new ways to engage with literature and do that with friends.
Yeah, I'm excited because like it'll make me think about the books I've read in a different way, help me like articulate my thoughts after reading.
Yeah.
Because a lot of times I'll read a book and be like, that was great.
Yeah.
And then just
Next book.
eat it onto my bookshelf and like, okay, I'll come back in maybe like 5 years and read it again. So I'm happy that I won't be doing that as much. Like I'll get to actually interact with them and think through them more. Yeah.
Learning how to articulate your thoughts on something is a skill that I always want to be developing. But I think articulating my thoughts for something less academic and more fun is going to be really exciting to learn and will make me a more empathetic person, a better listener, and a better communicator. So I'm really excited.
Do you ever feel like holding your tea mug like this isn't the most optimal way?
What do you mean?
Just now, I took a sip like this.
No.
And
Okay. Sorry, continue. Let him finish.
I kind of liked it more. But I also, feel like I'm like drinking whiskey or something or wine and I'm holding it in a very pretentious way.
Sure.
But like also this can be kind of pretentious in itself.
How? I agree with you for that cup. Hold this.
So maybe it's the cup.
Hold the butt.
Huh?
Wait.
What? Oh.
I don't hold it like that.
How do you hold it?
I do it weird. I hold it just 2 fingers up the top. Hold it.
Oh. I almost took a sip out of it and I was like,
Don't do that.
That's not mine. Okay. Anyway, my bad.
Okay, so that's what we're excited about?
Yeah.
Yay. Okay. Number 4.
Hit me.
Why do you love reading?
Huh.
It's actually, all these questions are so tender.
These are really good questions.
I really like them.
So I like I said before, I didn't always. But that's because I think I was forced. It was forced upon me.
Right.
So prime example of that is we were forced to read The Great Gatsby in high school. And I did not appreciate it at all. I was like, oh, like I gotta do it, gotta write the essay, take the test, whatever. Then I read it again, like I was like, this is one of the best books I've ever read in my entire life.
Yeah.
And I did not think that at all the first time I read it. So I think like books have a way of transporting you into a new place or a new mindset so well. And sometimes words just hit. Like someone could put a sentence together and you're like, how did you think to put those words next to each other? And how did it make me feel the way I feel right now? Like what kind of sorcery did you put into these letters that's getting into my soul? Sometimes it cuts. And I love like starting a new book because it's like you have no idea what's going to happen. You have no idea what story is going to get told, how it's going to get told, how it's going to make you feel. This is going to sound so cliche and like weird, but it's like a mini adventure, right? Cool. Why do you love reading?
Hold on. There was something that you said earlier about why you love reading that I forgot. Oh, okay. The words on the page.
Yeah.
So when I was in like around 12 years old, The Hunger Games was really popular. And I ate that up. Like I was sick one week and I said, give it to me. And I read the whole thing, right? So fast, so good. I didn't care that I had a headache. I'm going to read the book. And that was the last book I read for fun. before
that was
this
the
season.
saddest sentence.
Okay, but follow me. So a lot of the books that my friends were really loving when I was in like late middle school, high school, that were not required reading were in the fantasy genre. And I think fantasy is so cool. And I tend to love fantasy on the big screen. I love when I can see what's happening with the beautiful thoughts and worlds that have been built. So that's my preferred way of consuming that media. So everything that you just described with like that feeling, I feel like when art is able to be communicated in its best format, whether that's on a television show or through a movie or through a painting or through a song, when art is, given to us in a way that is most meaningful to it or to the artist, I think that's such a beautiful thing.
Yeah.
And so actually for my favorite books of the year, my honorable mention is a fantasy book, which is really exciting for me. I'm growing. But if you look at my story graph, it's like literally, and then it's like fantasy.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So I think that's the type of books I love to read. I love to learn through books, not necessarily through nonfiction and learning like how to help myself be a better person, but by doing my best to better understand people's perspectives. I love reading to learn from other people, and so I like to read other authors from different countries and different backgrounds from mine, and also backgrounds that share my background, but are not spoken about a lot. And so when I find a book that articulates my experience in the United States, I'm like, oh, yes,
It hits.
you get it.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's why I love to read.
Nice.
Yeah. Question 5. Okay, so the 5th question is, what got you into reading?
Yeah. We talked about it a little bit earlier. I think it was the pandemic and having like an excess of free time. And people were recommending books to me, and I was like, I'm not really a reader, but then I was like, I'll give it a shot because I have all this time right now, might as well try. And I fell in love with Little Fires Everywhere. And that got me hooked, and then I just kept going. And then I think this is actually really interesting and fun part of the reading journey is discovering what kind of books you like.
Oh, so true.
Because at first you're like shopping around and you're like, oh, let me just pick this one up and this one up. And then like as you keep doing it, you're like, oh, but I think I'm like fitting into this like lane right now. And it can change. That's another great thing about it.
That's so true, yeah.
But
That'll probably be a different video.
yeah, that's true. So yeah, I think that is what got me into it. That was a question, right?
Yeah, so what got you into reading? And what's crazy, so I didn't start watching or reading in the pandemic. I really got into booktube before I became a reader.
Interesting.
Weird. There's so many different types of books that exist that I did not know about. And so it was, my friend was moving, and it was kind of after the height of the pandemic hit. We were still like in masks and things like that. But she was moving, and so she had all these books that she was giving away. And I picked up Norwegian Wood, and I was like, my best friend loves Haruki Murakami for, the translation has been really good. And so I was like, okay, I'm just going to try. And yeah, I picked that up, and then after I read Norwegian Wood, I was like, give me Little Fires Everywhere, please. And then found that like that still isn't my favorite book. Like I thought that was top tier out of everything. And then I learned like, oh my gosh, there's a whole world. And then I was like, I'm never going to be able to read all the books in the world.
Yeah, that is a feeling that weighs on me a lot, like at night.
Yeah.
I'll be like, I need to read faster.
Which is like how I don't know you're like, I don't relate to the fact that you are not a DNFer. Like, because of that reality. That's something. But it's very impressive.
Yeah. If I start a book, I'll say 97% of the times I'm finishing that book. If I hit the halfway mark, I'm going to 100%. Like, okay,
that's fair.
Yeah. If I hit like 20% and I'm like, this is actually my least favorite thing I've ever laid my eyes on, then I'll backtrack, right?
Yeah. I'm the person who reads the first like 2 chapters, and if I don't like it, I'm putting it down.
That's true. Yeah.
But you don't do that.
No. I'm really bad at that. Because people are like, don't judge a book by its cover. I'm like, don't judge a book by its first 100 pages.
Here's question number 6. What challenges do you think you'll face? I literally have no idea.
I don't either. The community is so wholesome. Neither of us are educated in literature.
Yes, that's a great challenge.
Yes.
Yeah.
So when it comes to our reviews or the dialogue we have about books, it might sound a little uneducated or slightly undereducated when you compare it to some other channels, other creators.
I think that there's going to be a learning curve in how to communicate how we feel about books.
Yeah.
There was a challenge I just thought of and I forgot.
It happens.
That's going to be a challenge. Words leave my brain.
Challenge number 2.
Challenge number 2?
Short-term memory.
She'd be struggling. Yeah, I don't know what happens, but I'll be speaking and then suddenly words will leave my brain. I'm like, that's super cool. Please stop.
All of this, like, video editing, video recording, all this is kind of new to us.
Yeah.
So that's going to be a challenge. As we said earlier, it took us 2 hours to set this up. So...
I have a challenge I'm looking forward to.
Oh.
We are going to expand what we read because of this channel.
That's true.
So I think we are very much in our lane, but we've read probably like 75 books in the past 2 years that are in the literary fiction category.
Yeah.
And so maybe even more at this point. So I think like for us to be like, okay, we've established what we love. Now what else is out there that we don't know that we love? Yeah. And I think that's going to... This environment's going to push us to do that.
Is a very good point. Because it's a challenge that we're taking on.
Yeah.
And I am excited about it. Like, there's genres that I haven't really touched basically at all.
Yeah.
And this channel will help us go into those areas and, like, experience it for the first time. So
yeah, and you're going to be witnessing that. Like, you're going to see us be like, oh my gosh, there's a genre that I've never heard of and I love. And I'm excited to do that.
Absolutely.
Okay, question 7 is, where do you read?
Oh, I like that question.
And I read everywhere.
Yeah, she's a very mobile reader. Where do I read? I read in my bed a lot.
Same.
This is how it is. But like I also, if I'm reading in my bed, I'm usually like romanticizing it a little bit.
Is it like a candle?
There's a candle. I'll usually have some lo-fi.
Ooh.
Like lo-fi girl will be on the TV, or I'll have it playing on a speaker, and then I'll have some tea. Like the vibes will be immaculate. If not, I will go read at like a coffee shop or like I used to set up a hammock in a park and read.
That's nice.
I'll just read wherever I am.
Same. Like I read everywhere.
Yeah.
I like to read in my bed. And then if I could be outside, it'd be great. We live in a place that's really warm. So it's hard to read outside, but if it's like cooling down, I love reading by the water. I think that is my happy place.
True.
With like some jazz in the background and like that's just delightful. All right, question 8 is... Oh, we've answered this, like, for sure. It's, what kind of books do you like to read?
Oh, yeah.
I'm sure you can answer this question.
Yeah. Lit fic.
So, okay, what is literary fiction, though? I don't really know, because I'm not a student of the English language. So when I, like, saw on Storygraph that I was reading a lot of literary books, I was like, is that my genre? Like, I'm not sure what that means. And what I think it means is they are beautiful words strung together to bring a story to you. And I think that that's the best that I can do. If someone out there like knows the actual definition, I'd try to Google it. I don't know. But like contemporary could also be literary, right? Classic could also be literary. So literary is like this very overarching category. We try to read classics.
That's true.
But they tend to be literary.
Yeah.
I read a lot of nonfiction for school. Like I have to read... I don't, though. Don't tell anybody. I'm supposed to read, like, maybe 3 journal articles a week, minimum.
And?
She doesn't.
Yeah.
I do the reading for class, and I just don't do my extra reading outside as much as I want to, but it is a lot of nonfiction, empirical reading.
Yeah.
And so because of that, I like to use fiction as a way to not necessarily escape, but a different way to learn, and that's my favorite thing to do.
Nice.
I guess that's it.
Is that the last question?
Yeah.
Oh.
And they were readers.
I thought you were going to, like, give me, like, and the final question is... But
I'll just do that right now. And the final question is... Okay, so that was the last question.
Yeah.
We have a couple more videos that we want to shoot that we personally are, like, excited to talk about with one another.
Yeah.
And we're like, let's just set up a camera.
Yeah.
You know? So join us for those if you want to, and we hope to see you around and officially join the booktube community.
Yeah. Thanks for checking us out. See ya. I hated that.
How do you end?